Please be advised there are spoilers ahead related to the property being watched and or discussed. Hello! Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so very much for tuning in. This is Ashamoji TV. My name is Asha. This is where I like to watch, react, and give my 2 cents worth about a couple of properties related to sci-fi and fantasy, respectively. So in today's video, I am going to be pressing play on episode 2 of the first season of Fringe, titled The Same Old Story. If you missed my reaction or condensed reaction to episode 1, the link is in the description box for you, as well as other related videos. So before I share my reaction with you, and assuming you won't skip ahead, I just want to kind of take the habit now to kind of give you somewhat of an informal recap of the previous episode, and I'll try to do that consistently in every video, just so you have an idea where my state of mind is, and if I've misunderstood something, at least it gives you an opportunity to correct me in the comment section without spoilers, of course. Okay? Alright, so I watched a pilot episode. I haven't rewatched it because this is somewhat of a binge process. I binge 2 episodes per week and I upload it to YouTube accordingly. And so I freshly just watched a pilot episode about an hour ago. Okay? Alright, so with that information in mind, what I've understood in the pilot is we have now the official trio, right? Walter, his son, which I finally figured out was his name is Peter. I'm terrible with names. Forgive me. And we have, of course, Olivia Dunham, who is the lead, it seems, of the story overall. And in a nutshell, from the best way I can kind of say it, it started out where her boyfriend, John Scott, he gets infected with this gnarly type of infectious thingy, and he kind of becomes translucent man, unconscious. She dives into his consciousness with this LSD type testing thing that Walter, I was going to say made up, but it was more or less Walter guides her through, which was really fascinating and brought in more questions. But regardless of that, she's able to sync with John's consciousness while he's in a coma, and she's under this LSD thingy, whatever. And she finds out the identity of the person who set up this bomb at the warehouse they were at, or the storage place they were at. Long story short, really, John ends up being the villain. John ends up being the one who actually was kind of the perpetrator from the very beginning, who set this whole kind of chain of events going. And while he's dying in her arms, unfortunately, he asks her this puzzling question as to why Boyle, her big bad boss, as I call him, sent her to the storage to be there in the first place, which is a very cryptic question, because how they played it out, from what I'm perceiving so far, is that it seemed inevitable that it would be her because she's his partner kind of thing, or actually they're not partners. But either way, that seems to be the question that the episode ended off with, that leads into the mystery of more things to come. But the most important fact for me that I took from that episode that leads into now the subsequent episodes is that there's this division where what's known as the pattern is somewhat maybe a series of events or fringe science type events where abnormal things are happening to people. And big bad boss Boyle, he invites Olivia to join in and figure out these cases. And so it seems as if she's going to be doing that with Walter and Peter and Jean the cow and their assistant. I forgot her name, forgive me. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that pilot episode. I'm looking forward to seeing the big mystery behind it. And oh yes, of course, John really isn't dead. In that episode, they do name off or list off a bunch of really fantastical, advanced scientific things that we all kind of wish would, develop in our world. And yet it seems that this corporation, I forgot the name of the corporation, something dynamic. This corporation seems to have that science already in play, because John dies in Olivia's arms, and then at the end he's brought back to that corporation, and they're all like, oh, how long has he been dead for? And dude's like 6 hours, and then she says, question him. And so that leads me to presume that they have the technology to reanimate him in order to question him, right? Okay, so that's as much as I can informally tell you. It was a great episode. I'm very much looking forward to watching more. So here is my condensed reaction to episode 2 of the first season of Fringe. Boston, Massachusetts. I've never been.
What's her name? Whoever you're thinking about. Your girlfriend or whatever.
I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah? You're not married, are you? Not that it's any of my business. You never know about people.
Obviously. Oh. Amber, look out.
You know my real name or what?
Yes, I do. Very much.
Lorraine.
Is he gonna run out and just stab her with that stuff he looks like he's gonna inject in her? Wow, more than... Oh, has he already done something to her? Yeah, obviously. Hold on, let me get the other concoction I was working on. What the hell? Is it like that movie Old? If you've seen it, you know what I mean. I've injected you with super sperm. Dude just leaves her there. Is it a human baby though? That's what I'm wondering. You know, like, is it gonna be like The Fly? Oh my god. I hope it's not gonna be too gross. Okay, it's not human, right? It's something else. I'm gonna say it's a humanoid creature.
We were alerted to an incident at the Wallace Bromley Medical Center. While the details are still coming in, it appears to be another anomaly whose mysteries and origins remain the sole purpose of this committee.
What were you thinking when you recruited Olivia Dunham? An FBI agent who had an illicit affair with her partner, a man who turned out to be a traitor.
Hello?
Wake up. There's something you need to see.
Oh gosh, are we gonna see the creature baby?
You need to get your father. Apparently there's something we need to see.
And there's something...
It can't wait.
Walter? Come on.
He's at the lab, probably. The closet. Oh.
What the hell are you doing in there again?
Where I've been for the past 17 years. There was a patient there, Carlos. He would sing, "Row, row, row your boat," every night.
That's nice.
We gotta go, Walter.
Well, old habits die hard, right?
She's a Jane Doe. Prints and DNA are being run now. Should have her ID'd by sundown.
Did the baby survive?
The newborn was convulsing, screaming in obvious pain. It was growing before their eyes.
Growing, you mean they could see it getting larger?
That's right. Finally dying from natural causes.
Natural causes? I don't understand.
It was aging.
Well, it's a boy!
Dr. Bishop, any idea how something like this might happen?
To understand what happened here, I'll need to run extensive tests, get these bodies to a lab. Therefore, of course, I'll need a lab immediately.
Your old lab at Harvard, we reopened it for you. Do you not remember that?
No, but that's fantastic news.
Dr. Bishop, I may need you to take samples from the motel room. I need you to come with me.
I am trying to put these pieces together like a puzzle. How this happened, how he happened to her, and working.
Come on, Olivia. I can do
think it's safe to say that Walter's a real comedic factor in the show.
Lorraine Daisy Alcott.
Hey, I think I actually got something to sample in here.
Well, obviously the dude that knocked her up, something with him. So it's gotta lead back to him.
Her things were left behind, but not his. Open the cabinet.
Why?
There are gonna be sheets in there.
Okay, how'd you do that?
She's psychic?
I know who was in that room. The killer. I know his profile. It was a case that John and I worked. Serial murders in New Jersey and New York, and we never caught him.
How'd the killer do it?
Don't tell me. Show me. Hey, I just noticed that. Oh, I'm not gonna pause, but I noticed like a fetus-looking thing in the Apple image.
5 young women within a few days. Pick them up, take them to motels, and then he'd give them a muscle paralyzer. They'd be wide awake, but unable to move. He'd make an incision here along their gums, go through their nasal cavity, and remove a piece of their brain. The muscle paralyzer he used was bright orange. So if that's our sample, then I'm telling you this is our guy. Which means he's gonna kill again.
Kill and impregnate? Because she just slept with him, but maybe it's someone else before him. Like, I'm wondering if it's a misdirect, you know? It's not necessarily him.
I left you a message.
No, I got it. You want to open up a 12-year-old serial case. The brain surgeon.
I don't think he retired.
I'll get you the case files.
Understandable. It's gonna haunt her for a while. Oh boy, he's gonna bring her in a more secure location to do the deeds.
Most guys bring me to a hotel.
Wow. Look at this place.
Is it just me, or is this the second woman he picks up who's very chatty like that? Oh, he's gonna inject her.
What are you doing?
Oh,
I'm doing two things at once. I'm waiting for you, and I'm doing her a favor.
We're supposed to be doing extensive testing.
is this organic milk?
DNA results confirm my suspicions that the woman was impregnated by a man who was the result of experiments identical to those conducted by me in this very lab around 30 years ago.
Yeah, pictures will do it.
Hello, I'm Dr. Walter Bishop.
Yes, Dr. Bishop, we've met. I'm Junior Agent Astrid Farnsworth.
Astrid, okay.
You know, Walter, we'd probably be a lot more help here if you told us what we were looking for.
My research, in which the pituitary gland sits, situated in the sphenoid bone.
Did you just say pituitary gland?
Yeah, because her picture had a...
Well, that's how he killed.
Yeah.
He'd perform surgery on his victims, remove the pituitary gland before he overdosed them with anesthesia.
Advanced rapid aging, like the disease called progeria, can be induced artificially by manipulating the pituitary gland.
Progeria. Case filed by Dr. Penrose?
Yes, Penrose. Penrose. I remember him, a former colleague of mine. He'll know. We ran experiments on rapid growth. Obviously, someone has made a breakthrough, and Penrose could lead us to that person.
Charlie, it's me.
Dunham, what's up?
I need a cross-check of recent unsolved homicides. See if any bodies have turned up with a missing pituitary gland.
Well, you say the sweetest things.
Only to you, Charlie.
I'll get somebody on him.
I'm suspecting Charlie on a different level. Only because that actor plays villains a lot. So, I mean, I don't want to presume he'd play one in the show, but, you know.
this?
Agent Dunham, FBI. Can we ask you a few questions? You worked with Dr. Bishop, manipulating growth hormones at the end of the Vietnam War.
I must tell you both. Our work was...
Highly theoretical.
Yes, but I was going to say that more than anything, it was wrong. As sorry as I was to hear about Dr. Bishop's incarceration, I believe it was the best thing that could ever happen to humanity. No one in power should ever learn what he knows. My work, to which you are referring, ended years ago. Since then, I've done all I can to forget it.
Is he telling the truth?
He's not telling us everything.
Dunham.
Sudbury police has a blonde female victim. Surgical incision along her upper gum line. The central endocrine gland has been removed. This count?
Can you get the body brought to the lab?
Will do.
You're right. The pituitary gland has indeed been removed. And I may be able to posit an hypothesis as to why. Years ago, when I worked with the Defense Department, we were tasked with a program designed to cultivate soldiers. Of course, female eggs were to be fertilized in a lab and given a cocktail of growth hormones. If perfected, a baby was born and within 3 years aged to the equivalent of a 21-year-old male, a soldier in prime condition.
So he's probably collecting them.
The only problem was how to slow the aging process once the subject had reached the desired physical age. And once started, we couldn't turn the aging off. But I believe that someone has made a breakthrough, that the killer is the product. A test tube human afflicted with rapid aging.
She was an accident. And the killer's condition was passed on to the baby.
Even condoms are not 100% effective. You too should be aware of this.
Old school.
So someone must have heard her scream. He couldn't go through with his plan. He couldn't kill her. Which is why he didn't kill this girl at a motel, because he was scared. And we had to go back and start again from the beginning.
No, this is okay. We're making
Why don't you
progress.
tell her that everything's going to be okay?
I thought you had a way with women.
Not with that woman.
Christopher!
Let me guess, the professor?
The FBI came to see me today.
Yeah.
I know what happened. You got that woman pregnant. How's the pain?
Getting worse.
Yes. Well, we're almost there. You just need to get one more and you'll be okay.
Okay, so there's a certain amount he needs. It's not like an ongoing thing just to stay young.
Yes.
Something on your mind?
Please, the term on your mind vexes me with its depicted inaccuracy.
Stop. Would you just talk like a person? What are you thinking?
That the last image seen in life, right at the moment of death, is permanently imprinted on the retina of the eye.
The only way that we could see what she saw, even in theory, is if we could recover the electric impulses that were traveling along her optic nerve, which we can't.
But we're in luck.
They'll do it in this episode.
Was given a muscle relaxant. The drug would have frozen her neural pathways at the moment of death, and the last images she saw with it.
I love this. I hope they do this in every episode. That's just so engaging. It's like they're solving a case, but they're also showing like really fringe science, right? I'm not sure if I'm defining that well, so I'll leave that up to you to do.
I'm sorry about the lab. I don't usually
What?
lose control.
To tell you the truth, it was kind of a relief. Listen, I can't believe that I'm about to propose this, but I think we've actually figured out a way to track down that psycho.
Before he died, Agent Scott suggested that this was more than a coincidence that you recruited me for this assignment.
Agent Dunham, the very last time you were intimate, were you safe?
No way. No way. For real? No, it's a dream. It's a nightmare. Yeah. to be real. They almost fooled me, though.
Thank you again for your cooperation. We're very...
No need to thank me. You know, I've been thinking of you, meaning to thank you for being a woman of your word and keeping Massive Dynamic out of the press. I also wanted to say, you have my sincere condolences on the loss of Agent Scott.
Yeah, he's just downstairs.
I've lost people close to me. I know how hard that can be. Not to mention the rumor about what he was involved with. And of course the joy of being a female in a traditionally male line of work. I mean, no doubt some of your male colleagues are assuming that you two were intimate.
Don't tell her.
The electronic pulse camera. Travel safely, Agent Dunham.
Electronic pulse camera. Okay, so here we go. Ugh.
And we're really going to be able to see her last image?
Hey, never bad thing to have.
I'm assuming a bunch of blurry images for a while. You are the one.
This is taking too long. If he's already picked up another big patient, you always were.
As if you ever knew me well enough to make a statement like that.
You're a smart boy, but there's much you don't know.
Wait, what was that?
The bridge that she was looking at.
I know that bridge. I used to live in Ditton. That's Sergeant Bridge. That's in Stoughton.
What's in Stoughton?
Warehouse District.
Hopefully they'll get to the point where she did look at his face after looking at the bridge.
It looks like she's in this warehouse district. The 1600 block of Bond Street.
I want satellite images of that area for the last 24 hours. If you get anything more specific, call me.
You got it.
It worked, Peter. See that? It worked.
Walter.
FBI! Put your hands up! I said put
Literally
your
in the nick
hands
of time.
She's alive.
Safety's on the right. Do not let him move. Freeze!
Hey, back up.
Dang it.
It's Peter.
Just making popcorn.
Walter, I'm with a woman in her mid-20s. She is going into cardiac arrest due to an overdose of anesthesia.
Do you have any cocaine?
Cocaine? No, I don't have any cocaine.
Oh, too bad. I have to shock her heart.
What can you use instead? By the time she finds him, he's probably gonna die of natural causes.
Alright, here goes.
That's a first.
Hey. It worked.
Yay!
Some good work.
Hey. You're gonna be okay.
I still think the timing's a bit off. It just seems as if they would have gotten to that point way before these two arrived, but I know, it's the flow of TV. Yeah, he's an old man now.
Should have let me die a long time ago. I was an experiment. That was his mistake. He was blinded because he loved me.
Ooh, imagine the paperwork after this. Chased him, He died of old age.
I'd ask you what you wanted the camera for, but I respect your confidentiality. I don't think a woman of your talents should be in public service.
Oh. And where should I be?
Here, at Massive Dynamic. Massive Dynamic is one of the 10 largest economic entities in the world. Our investments sway the markets and make or break presidential elections. Overseas, we have responsibilities traditionally sacred to the state. Not to mention, I believe a position here would speed your effort to find answers.
You're referring to the pattern?
Among other things.
She should get the inside scoop on shit. Maybe she can do like a double agent situation.
Listen. Every aspect of these investigations is strictly classified. Certain private individuals have been granted clearance regarding the pattern, including Nina Sharp. But that clearance is limited.
I'm not clear on what you're getting at.
When you were with her, did she share anything with you? Did she mention the pattern?
Yeah, she did. She said you were a good man.
I wonder if he had a history with her.
I'm not signing my rights away to the federal government. I already got enough trouble in my life.
Peter told me about my former colleague and his son. It's one of the inherent pitfalls of being a scientist. Sometimes I forget myself, but then you already know that. If you've read my file, then you know the truth about Peter's medical history. I've been meaning to ask you.
Walter, there was no mention of any medical history.
Do not
Just
tell
his
me.
birthday.
Did he experiment on him? His own son?
I was going to ask you to keep it between just the two of us, but I suppose then there's no need.
She's obviously gonna look into that. Oh no.
30, 21, 34, 55.
Hey, Walter.
I was trying to lull myself to sleep.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. You think you could do that in your head?
Wasn't I?
Oh.
I thought I was. Sorry.
He's so sweet.
Try and keep it down, alright?
377.
Yeah, Peter, you need some earplugs.
110.
Row your boat gently down the stream.
Oh my gosh.
Merrily, 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 merrily.
Is that you?
Yes, Walter, it's me. Just stop talking and close your eyes, okay? Merrily, merrily, merrily.
That's so nice. Oh my god. Oh, whoa. Oh my gosh. Ugh, didn't prepare to cry for this kind of thing. Alright. Wow. Okay, well, I have quite a lot to kind of look through, because there's quite a number of scenes that comes to mind that stands out. But, yeah, I'll share my thoughts with you in a few seconds for you. Hashtag Team Walter. Seriously, I am so impressed. It's only been the second episode of the first season, and I'm just blown away by John Noble, how he's able to, well, I shouldn't be surprised. He's a fantastic actor, but it's not very common for me personally to get too attached to a character this soon into a season. And episode 2, especially towards the end of this episode, I'm like in love with Walter as a character, and I'm just hooked on watching Walter's journey. And it's not to put down the other characters and say that they're not good or anything, because without Joshua Jackson and his performance playing off with John Noble, it really wouldn't have worked out to engage me at the end as a viewer, especially bringing tears out of my eyes in a situation that I just didn't expect at all. So, yeah, definitely have to say that Walter is a character I'm looking forward to watching in every episode. Amidst also so much of the seriousness of this show, with the dark moments, having Walter as comic relief is comic relief, really. Okay, so when it came to picking my favorite scene or the most memorable scene of the episode thus far after watching it for the first time, I have to say that it is the moment where the Lorraine woman is giving birth, and it seemed as if she birthed a monster of some kind. And then they fade to black, and of course we found out later on it's an accelerated growth situation, and then there's this, old man with the umbilical cord laying on the floor. And despite that reveal being also very surprising, it's just the intensity of how it led up to that situation that I can never forget. And also, my imagination went wild thinking, did she birth some kind of humanoid alien or something? Like I was thinking about the movie The Fly. And so undoubtedly, that is the most memorable scene from this episode. Now, as for my Ashamoji rating, I give this episode a solid 4 Ashamojis. It was a very good episode. However, for me personally, I really didn't enjoy too much of the whole situation of paralyzing the women and watching that guy trying to get to their pituitary gland. It was just a little uncomfortable for me, and I did look away at times, not necessarily for just the disgust factor, in terms of the ickiness of it, but just the nature of the situation of these women being incapacitated that way for that purpose. Not always the most wonderful thing for me to watch in general. So that's really why I have to kind of knock it down in Ashamoji, because it makes it just a tad bit less rewatchable. And that's how I kind of base my ratings, right? If it's that kind of episode that I'm ready to press play again right away, instant replay, then it's 5 Ashemojis for sure. But nonetheless, it was a very good episode in many other fronts, so it deserves 4 Ashemojis. So there you have it. That is my reaction to Season 1, Episode 2 of Fringe. Share with me in the comments your thoughts about this episode and whatever tidbit of trivia that you want me to know that is specific to this episode with no spoilers. And if you want access to my full reaction to this episode, details about that is in the description box below, as well as details on how you can go about supporting this channel if you like what I do here on YouTube. So until my reaction to episodes 3 and 4 next week respectively, I am tuning out, signing out. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.